morning and welcome to Meet Magento Indonesia.
We're going to be looking forward to doing this again next year. In the
Hello and welcome back to the technical room of Meet Magento 2021 Indonesia. Thank you all for coming in and attending. I think firstly, I'd like to reintroduce myself since we're starting our second half of the day today. My name is Jessie and it's an honor to be your MC for the rest of the day in this technical room. For those in the Western Indonesia time region, we hope you had a great lunch and have the right stamina to follow through the rest of the sessions we have after this. And those in the slightly different time zones, we hope you are still up and about, looking forward to join the rest of the sessions. We still have a lineup of compelling sessions featuring esteemed speakers, so please stay tuned and look forward to that. I guess let's just dive right into the first session. We are returning with a topic that touches upon one of Adobe's cutting-edge solutions presented by the Adobe team themselves. Introducing you to product recommendations powered by Adobe Sensei, we have Mr. Willie Tan, who is the Senior Solution Consultant at Adobe. If questions already start popping up in your head at the hear of that mention or the hear of the name of our speaker, please make sure to go to our Q&A box right next to this broadcast. You can just drop any questions that you want to ask to our speaker, and we'll be sure to get to them as much as possible after the presentation. So I guess it's time to let our speaker into the virtual stage. Please welcome Mr. Willie Tan.
Hi everyone, this is Willie. I am Hi everyone, this is Willie. Sorry about that earlier introduction. I'm just sharing my screen, and I'm hoping that everyone had a very productive morning. Great lunch. And for the next segment, in half an hour, I'm going to bring to you some of the newer innovations from Adobe. You can see the screen here for bringing intelligence to commerce. I'll be talking about some of the new features, especially the product recommendations driven by Adobe Sensei, which uses machine learning in the background to bring about product recommendation for merchants like yourself. Just to make an introduction of the the contents I'm sharing, you will see that there are QR codes, which I'm hoping that the audience can interact a bit while I'm going through some of the contents for the next half an hour to talk to you a little bit about the experience from both the storefront, from the buyer's perspective, and also the administration perspective from a technical standpoint. All right, so as I move on, the purpose of the agenda that I'll be covering will be at a high level some of the newer constant innovation that Adobe is bringing about for Adobe Commerce, especially in the area of intelligence commerce. And for today's session, I'll be touching a little bit on the product recommendation. And if there's some time after that, I might actually talk about something new called a live search that we've already introduced into the market. So this really facilitates and enable merchants to bring about very engaging and live experience for your buyers, above and beyond the usual product recommendation, upsell and cross-sell. We are also using AI to monitor the behavior of our buyers that comes to your site, and then reintroduce some of those experience to newer buyers per se. As we go along for merchant to engage the customer further, whether it's online, offline, whether you are, engaging them or sending them messages, offering them campaigns and promotions just to come to your site and transact more. We realize that there is only so much time that merchants have. Basically, in terms of administration, sometimes they actually have to think about not just the campaigns and events they are running to get the customer to come online to shop with you more. They also have to administer and do a lot of this configuration that requires a certain number of skill sets and people to be supporting some of these activities. And this is exactly where machine learning and AI, we realize that we have the ability, Adobe has the ability to bring about a lot of streamlining and convenience, not just for the buyers, but for the merchants as well. And this is not just in the context of B2C merchants. We see the same kind of experience, the same kind of value being applied, whether it's online to offline, whether it's the B2C, B2B merchants. And in a lot of cases, it will also be applicable if the merchant decides to go on a B2B2C journey as well. So regardless of the sales channel, we are constantly innovating. Adobe is constantly innovating, bring about new values for merchants and your buyers. Okay, so just to have a very high level glimpse of the roadmap that we have. So obviously for today's context, we are really going to touch a little bit on the intelligent commerce, but Adobe is committed to drive constant innovation for our customers, the merchants, to bring about new experience and new value for their buyers, so that whenever they come onto your site, your branding, the products and services that you're trying to resonate is not just transactional. We want them to have a very good customer engagement journey, whether or not you're looking at multi-brand, multi-storefronts, to have absolute control over how you want to engage with your customers. Again, I reiterate, this is across multi-channel, omni-channel commerce. It can apply to the mobile experience as well. We have customers coming and tell us they want the same kind of experience for the TV shopping per se. The platform itself, for some of the practitioners for Adobe Commerce, you already know that it's a very open and extensible set of tooling that's provided for the developers and the merchants, so that if they want to differentiate themselves from their competition, they're able to do this on the Adobe Commerce platform. Again, as I mentioned, we want to have a very frictionless approach on how Adobe engage the merchants, our customers, and therefore bring about that value for the merchant to have a frictionless buying experience for the users as well. Okay. Now we embark on the journey of machine learning and AI, understanding that our merchants have a lot of data on hand. Some of them are structured, some of them are unstructured. What if we can create value and turn this data into information that can translate into contents that the buyers can see and interact and engage with constantly, so that they will not face a situation where they can't find the correct variations of the product that you are trying to push to them to put in front of their the screen or the mobile devices. And this is really where intelligent commerce comes in. We want to understand not just what you're selling. We want to understand, we want to make the buyer understand as well what you are trying to resonate to them. So through buyer behavior, interaction, and engagement, Adobe is able to bring about a very strong set of learnings that we are able to make it convenient for merchant to resonate and be personalized in terms of the content and product we are pushing in front of the customers. And this exactly is where Adobe Sensei drives innovation in terms of, say, in the case for product recommendation, to put relevant product in which can convert, which is more targeted to the audience, which is more targeted to the buyers, to make sure that when they see this recommendation that you are giving to them, it is relevant. I did mention that we have a live search. So this is a feature that we've just rolled out a couple of months ago. It allows the buyer to do a live search type, search as you type kind of capability to have a very interactive session with the buyers that is on the storefront. For today's session, we'll be focusing a little bit more on the product recommendation. Okay, so as I mentioned, Adobe Commerce is very data driven. We provide a lot of insights for the merchant to understand how well their offerings are doing in the market. And if there is any changes that's required to keep on the trend, to follow up with the different customer behaviors, be it seasonal campaigns, or be it certain promotions you're running, we enable merchants to have these insights, okay? At the same time, the personalization is really comprehensive. We allow merchants to really understand the segmentation of different personas that is shopping with you. At the same time, through AI, we are able to further granularize in real time how different sets of our customers are viewing the different products and associating with other products and services that you're bringing to them. Or, for example, who has bought item A and also bought item B. And hence, therefore, maybe in terms of preference, we are able to have more targeted products offering that is pushed in front of the buyer's screen. We want the visitors, we want the buyers to find relevant product and solution that caters to what they came onto your storefronts initially and increase the cart value eventually. Rather than buying one item, they may buy two items. So this is some of the innovation and convenience and experience that Adobe wants to bring about for merchants, that at the same time, they will be able to offer the same value to their customers as well. So this is where I want to introduce officially for those of the audience that have not that doesn't know that Adobe actually has Adobe Commerce supporting product recommendation that is driven entirely by artificial intelligence and machine learning in the background. I'll introduce to you Adobe Sensei, and you can have you can scan the QR code as well to have more information on the topic that I'm going to be spending a little bit time on. So I've mentioned earlier AI, machine learning. So all the configuration that's available for the merchant to do the configuration are very much practical. Okay, zero programming. And basically, I'll be walking you through the steps in how merchant can actually enable this in Adobe Commerce. It comes along with many different recommendation types, whether you want to use a bespoke kind of a drag and drop recommendation on your storefront, or you want to have automated product recommendation on your catalogs and product details page, you can do that as well. And I'll be going through some of these capabilities very soon. We have dynamic inclusion, exclusion rules on the product that you want AI, you want Adobe Sensei to understand whether you want to include this in the recommendation or not. You can do that as well. There's a recommendation preview in which once configured, merchant will be able to see for these particular learnings that the AI has actually analyzed from past purchases of customers, what is the product listing that is actually shown on the screen when the customer come on. All right, so there will be mobile support as well currently, and this has been GA. This is already in production for our existing customers. You are able to not just use product recommendation on the desktop. We are also extending this capability for customers that want to enable product recommendation on mobile experience as well. Okay, so in essence, we are trying to help merchant drive obviously the spend and increase the value that buyers actually put into the cart. And we do see that for customers that's really using product recommendation, they see a average growth of buyer spend per order of 40% increase. And customers that engage with a more relevant recommendation beyond what they intended to buy have a lot more convenience and a pleasurable journey when they feel that you actually know them and that increases in general about 70% of conversion rates. Okay, it also reduces some of the friction merchants have by pushing irrelevant recommendation that they have experienced, simply because we are able to associate behaviors from customer that is of the same profile, and not just leave it to maybe past trends that is no longer relevant to some of the buyers that come to your store. So these are really learnings in real time, and when you're further reduction in terms of dropout rates, simply because they feel that the content is not personalized to them. So this, while already is some of the capabilities that Adobe Commerce brings about on the platform, we further improve and innovate on that by bringing about more relevant experience for the buyers. Okay, next I want to step through a scenario in which how product recommendation driven by AI Adobe Sensei is actually being used. So for example, in this case, for Sheila, when she comes onto a storefront just to look and shop on some of the new shoe or sportswear that she wants for the new season. Okay, she requires a new pair of shoe simply because the weather is turning warm, and she can see definitely that depending on how the merchant wants to name this part of the recommendation, based on what is trending, based on what other customers have seen or bought in the past, Sheila will be able to see some of the more relevant offering of products that we are trying to entice Sheila to explore. So, and shoes here are trending, particular fabric texture, a particular model of shoe or coloration of shoe, we'll be able to push it something that's more relevant for Sheila. So it reminds her that she needs a new pair of shoe. She navigates to the shoe category, and here we can further, upsell or provide recommendation again based on other customers that may have seen relevant color. In this case, in the profile or past buy experience from Sheila, she might like blue color. So we'll be taking into account of past purchases, including some of the learnings that we have captured from other buyers to recommend something more relevant to her. And she sees a pair that she really likes, so she clicks on them to learn a little bit more. Okay, and here on every step of the recommendation, she can see different new recommendation on different pages. She will be able to see the different recommendations that will make it a lot more relevant to her. So as we step through, as Sheila steps through this buying journey, she suddenly realized that she's seen something which she came online, trying to shop around and with certain intention, but she sees something that she likes very much above and beyond what she intended to buy. She sees over here the recommendation can be shopper's overview, and this is really configurable for merchants depending on how you want to engage the customer. So she decides that actually this is a shoe that she really likes. So in essence, rather than buying a pair of shoes, she decided that she wanted 2 pairs. So this is one illustration of how potentially we can increase the cart value and make the shopping experience a lot more pleasurable for customers. So they are spending more money with you, but at the same time, they're happy to do that. So with that effect, really, we are trying to bring about a more enticing journey for the shoppers. Okay, Sheila ends up adding both pairs of shoes to her cart. Obviously, there are capabilities where we'll be not just using product recommendation to bring about more relevant experience on the choices that customers have. It is definitely possible for you to couple with different promotions or discount on the cutout to give her the discount for Sheila when she do the checkout. But at a very high level, really, when buyers do go on the storefront, this, because of the relevance and accuracy in which Adobe Sensei is able to bring about understanding past behaviors of buyers, we are also able to extend this into product recommendation. Okay, So what do you get out of this so-called product recommendation? For the merchants, they will be able to use a few segments of behavior or learnings that's based on algorithm that the AI has out of the box. It can be behavior-based from customers that have viewed this item or viewed the item. Customer has viewed this and bought the item, or bought this, bought that. Okay, so we allow the merchant to configure this yourself. There is nothing technical about this. It's all very layman, understanding the persona and the activities that past buyers have done. Okay, you will be able to provide labeling based on how you want to push this experience for the buyers as well. For example, recommended for you, especially, or other buyers also bought this. So merchants will be able to do the relevant labeling. We have something called visual similarity, in which we actually, so the AI actually review the graphic, the images of what other buyers have bought. And when, say, for example, Sheila actually goes on and pick on a blue color pair of shoe, we'll compare that to other images of other products, and just provide that visual similarity or graphical similarity offering to Sheila to make sure that she has a more comprehensive experience above and beyond just buying shoe. Maybe you can introduce something of blue color, a blue bag, or blue watch per se, or more like this. So, and then there are also other learnings or algorithm where we actually pick up trends, not just on the behavior of customer or exactly what is really trending. So the administration of some of these upsell cross-sell activity will be a lot more accurate, a lot more timely, and not have to wait for the merchant to pick up on these cues to curate a set of offering to push customers. So we allow with Adobe Sensei, with product recommendation, some of these learnings or trending is a lot more timely to be pushed out to buyers. Okay, so from a technical standpoint, I have to cover this for the developers or practitioners for Magento. This is compatible moving forward with Adobe Commerce 2.3. All the taggings, understanding of the variants or attributes of the products are actually captured automatically by Adobe Sensei, and the algorithm in the background actually understand based on the behaviors of the customer interacting with the products as well. I will be able to push this data automatically into the storefront, again, regardless of desktop or mobile. The entire experience of curating, presenting this data, presenting this recommendation on the storefront is very much graphical. For those that want to have absolute control like myself, I would want to do that on Page Builder. So basically, you are able to curate a home page or different event page and push recommendation into different roles and any position that you might want this recommendation to be on. But there are also different placements, automated placements of the product recommendation that are coming through very quickly. So there are different recommendation types that I've touched on earlier. And really, these are under the control of the administrator for different store views, for different websites. You'll be able to configure the different recommendations. There's no limit to that, that you want to have for a particular store, or for multiple store or multiple brands that you may want to have. So it's all under the control of the merchants themselves. We have inbuilt reporting that keeps track of the clicks and impressions, so that if the merchant wants to know exactly which recommendation is doing its job, is doing well, or there should be fine-tuning on the placement of the product recommendation, you can do that based on the reporting as well. And it's delivered through SaaS-based along with the Adobe Commerce Cloud offering. Okay, I did mention earlier that this is also an offering that is extensible to the mobile. So it comes along with the PWA extension. The management of this consistently between the desktop or the mobile is exactly the same, and we utilize GraphQL for this. Okay, so that is actually the storefront portion. Now coming into the administration, just to get a little bit into the context of how you actually install and enable the product recommendation in the administration module. So as per, if for practitioners, it's already familiar with how we extend new features in Adobe Commerce. So there will be 3 commands that you have to basically install. That's through the product recommendation module, a page builder module, which I'm going to come into very, very quickly on how you have absolute control over how you place product recommendation within page builder, and also the visual recommendation, visual similarity feature that I talked about earlier. If you want to have a little bit more detail or direct access into this page, which I've experienced before, really the commands here are very easy to install and they do just work. You can scan on the QR code here and take a look at the instructions for those that want to test out yourself. Okay, now the next very important thing is to have the API key access. So for all customers and developers, you should already have the Magento or Adobe account where you come to the API portal and generate 2 keys. Okay, there'll be a production key and there will be a sandbox key. So for the production key, it's really where it allows your Adobe Commerce instance to communicate and integrate with the Adobe Sensei. And the way to do that is through the API key. And from there, 2 things that can be done. You can actually, in your development environment, use the sandbox to do the learning. And then with that learning, if you already have experience, deploy that setting of configuration into production. So the learnings will not be brought over from the sandbox to the production. The reason for this is the Adobe Sensei is actually live. So we won't be able to bring that learning across, but it gives merchant a staging environment, a development environment to experience how you do this configuration and how to do it better when it comes to actual environment, production or go live stage. So constantly in the different environment, the merchants will have to do the learning separately. Okay, so that's for the 2 API key. And with these 2 keys, basically, you would put it into the configuration, which I'll be showing subsequently. So to navigate to the configuration for the product recommendation, you come to Store, Configuration, and there is under Services, a Commerce Service connector, where you provide the same key that you generate for production and sandbox into the text box here. And once you save this, automatically seamless, the platform will communicate directly with the Adobe Sensei or product recommendation service in the backend. And you will be able to see, for example, some of these new capabilities for product recommendations showing up in your marketing menu. And this is where you start to do recommendation, again, based on, say, for example, you want to put this on home page or product page, or even subsequently in the next I'll be showing you how it's done. In the page builder, you can do that as well. You will be able to view the performance of different product recommendation when you are testing this or go live, on the revenue that is actually translated or converted from this recommendation when customer click and put into their carts and buy from them, do the payment. The viewability, how many customer actually do go in to view the detail of it. You'll be able to see this reporting, very simplified reporting in the backend. Okay, now this is one of the configuration page that you will see. As I mentioned, the merchant will be able to see a few things here, the labeling, whether or not you want this product recommendation to be placed on the home page automatically, on the category page or product page detail. Remember earlier when Sheena actually goes on the different journey to look for the shoe, we are able to provide curated, automated recommendation in every step of a journey to make sure that she sees different things and pick up those that she likes, okay? And there's also the page builder I'll come into very quickly, and the different product recommendation type, which I'll do some introduction later. But this is really where merchants is able to see as well exactly what are the products that is being pushed from the learning for the different pages that the customer will experience when they step into all these different contents in your storefront.
Amazing. Wow. That was very wholesome, Mr. Willie Tan. Thank you very much. You even included a lot of QR codes for the audience to get more involved in the discussion. I really hope everybody watching this was also following through with all the QR codes. And not to worry, I see a couple of questions coming in, actually, very curious ones for Mr. Willie Tan, but we're going to move on to the next session, but not to worry. For these unanswered questions, you can actually drop them directly to Mr. Willie Tan. Our online conference platform has a lot of interactions feature, and you can also go to the lounge room, mingle together, or use the DM feature and just keep the interaction going. Not to worry, you can still reach out to our speakers or fellow attendees for that matter. The best part is all attendees can actually gain a lot of activity points and get up on the leaderboard and stand a chance to win grand prizes. I guess thank you again for Mr. Willie Tan. You really gave us a wholesome breakdown of how we're entering making the digital landscape a really main landscape for all of us. So really wishing Adobe Sensei will bring even more innovations to come for the next, the next years and the next months. Thank you, Mr. Willie Tan.
Thank you, Jessie. Thank you, everyone.